Umberto will start by giving you a quick overview of RWE and of its global sustainability strategy within which the FISHOWF project fits. And then I will follow up with a more specific focus on why FISHOWF is particularly relevant for RWE. Over to you, Umberto.
Thank you very much, Laura. So yeah, my name is Umberto Bineitti. I'm the marine biodiversity expert. I sit in the central sustainability team of RWE Offshore. If you go to the next slide, just introduce RWE. RWE is an energy producing company. We've been in action for more than 125 years. We are headquartered in Germany, in Essen. But in this more than a century of action, we've been expanding over the majority of the European nations, UK, US, and the APAC region. And if you go to the next slide, if you look at our portfolio at the moment, we have 35 gigawatt installed of green energy. We have a variety of technologies that we are currently using: offshore wind, onshore, solar, hydro, you name it. And we also have some legacy technologies that we are phasing out, like lignite and nuclear power plants that we are currently decommissioning. Obviously, the interest for this type of projects like FISHOWF is for the offshore wind. And if you go to the next slide, we can see that we are actually quite active in the space. We have 19 sites across Europe in 5 different countries, with a total output of 3.3 gigawatt currently installed. But as Ian was saying at the end of his presentation, we are also expanding. So we have also 5 new projects that are in construction in 4 different countries. And some of these are in a very advanced state of construction. Some others are about to start. And if you look at the amount of power that we have installed, this put us as the second player outside of China in terms of as a developer, so in terms of output of offshore energy. And this obviously makes us very interested in what is happening in the marine environment, and this is why we want to be involved in this. And this is also fitting with our sustainability credentials. As you can see in this slide, we have several policies looking at all the major pillars of sustainability. For this particular project, probably the most important is the biodiversity policy that we have, that is mandating the use of the mitigation hierarchy across all our projects, but also the commitment to become net positive by 2030. And obviously, all these actions needs to be very much monitored. So this amount of this type of projects like FISHOWF is very important to help us doing a better monitoring, understanding what is happening in the environment. And that is also useful for other part of sustainability, because if we look, for example, our circular economy, we have a commitment for full circularity. And obviously understanding what is happening in the environment is going to help us understanding what is, for example, the best way of doing the commissioning, what we can recycle, and if there is anything that could potentially be left in the water because it is beneficial for the biodiversity. So this was very brief, but I'll pass it over to Laura to go a little bit more in detail.
Thank you very much, Umberto. And just to clarify, for those who may be less familiar with RWE's role as a developer, we are involved in every phase of an offshore wind project, from early development to construction, operation, and decommissioning. This integrated model means we embed sustainability and biodiversity at every step, not as a separate goal, but as part of our decision-making across the entire value chain. And the research project we support, such as FISHOWF, are fully aligned with this approach and contribute to improving our practices with science-based evidence. Now that you have a better overview of who we are, our sustainability commitments, and how we operate, I would like to focus specifically on the FISHOWF project and why it's relevant to us. So let me quickly remind you that offshore wind projects are subject to a strict and evolving regulatory framework. Procedures vary between countries. Sometimes the environmental impact assessment is managed by the state. sometimes by the developer, but in all cases, a full environmental impact assessment, including cumulative impact analysis, is mandatory. And beyond mitigation measure, which must follow the avoid, reduce, compensate hierarchy, we also require to conduct long-term environmental monitoring throughout the different project phases, depending on the environmental issues identified. This must comply with national, European, and international frameworks, but increasingly the expectation goes further, not just no impact, but to deliver also biodiversity gains and adopt a systemic ecosystem-based approach. To do so, we need a robust science-based method to assess impacts, for instance, on fish communities, which is the main focus of FISHOWF. But this tool must be also operational in real offshore conditions, and we need data across multiple spatial and temporal scales. Let's now focus on the local scale, which is the scale closest to our infrastructure. A key challenge is to develop monitoring protocols that remain usable both before and after construction, despite technical constraints. For example, scientific bottom trawl surveys may no longer be feasible once turbines are in place, but consistency is crucial for comparing pre- and post-construction data. Locally, we may also face specific issues like the presence of electrosensitive species that could react to electromagnetic fields from subsea cable. There are very few in-situ studies on this topic, and FISHOWF's fine-scale telemetry protocols developed in Work Package 2 are extremely valuable for that. FISHOWF also helps us assess whether offshore wind farm may have positive impacts, for instance, acting as a protected area or refuges for certain species. If these effects are better understood and quantified, it could open the door to discussions around biodiversity net gain and influence how we approach co-use strategies inside wind farm. And zooming in further, the telemetry method also allows us to explore how fish use different microhabitats within the farm, like foundations, core protection, etc. This helps us identify preferential habitats, understand their ecological role, and inform our decision for improving habitat design, for example, through nature-inclusive design. And all these insights are supported by the result from the different work package, but specifically Work Package 2 and 3 maybe of the FISHOWF project. Now shifting to the regional scale, first we need robust data to support maritime spatial planning to help de-risk project and anticipate potential conflict of or sensitivities early on. Second, offshore wind farms increasingly overlap with long-standing surveys transects, including, for example, bottom trawl-based surveys like International Bottom Trawl Survey, for example, which has been running since 1980 and plays a major role in managing North Sea fisheries. Recent studies showed that 72% of US and European marine surveys report spatial overlap with existing or future offshore wind farm. So these long-term data series are essential for fisheries and ecosystem management. So we need monitoring tools that are compatible with offshore wind presence, and FISHOWF brings a solution to that. We also need to track fish movements across a large spatial scales, identify functional areas such as migration corridors, spawning and nursery ground, feeding zone, and resting areas, for example. And as mentioned earlier, we must account for cumulative impact and how they interact to affect species connectivity, abundance, and ecosystem services. Finally, offshore wind farm could support scientific research also by forming a connected network, especially if equipped with acoustic receivers and and linked to systems like ETN, for example, boosting large-scale biodiversity tracking. Finally, I would like to thank France Énergie Marine for giving us the opportunity to speak today and for all the work carried out in the FISHOWF project. And we are also glad to continue working on this topic through the FISHOWF Plus project. Thank you all for your attention, and don't hesitate if you have any question. Thank you.